Hi guys, and welcome to Sunderland vs Stoke City match preview. So of course, tomorrow, Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, we do welcome Alex Neil back to the stadium light, which is of course going to take the headlines for the time being. In general, I don't want that to be the case. I want us fans to get behind the lads and Tony Mowbray. I don't want to make the whole thing about Alex Neil. Yes, I'd like to make my opinion known on him. I've done it before in previous videos. And there's been loads of different opinions over, across social media, particularly over this last week. Following up to the game, there's been different journalists asking Sunderland fans, "What's your opinion of Alex Neil? This, that, and the other. Will you be hostile towards him at the Sol?" and all that kind of stuff. And I've made my opinion known on social media just today. Actually, the thing is with Alex Neil, when he was at the club, I loved him. I loved what he was about. No nonsense. He really seemed to get the lads together. The togetherness was there at the club, and of course, he gave me one of my favourite and best memories I've ever had following Sunderland. I'm 30 years of age. I've followed Sunderland, since I was 7, 8 years old. And this was probably one of the highlights, which was of course winning at Wembley, getting us finally out of League One. After many years of trying, he finally got us out. So I'll forever and eternally be grateful and thankful and appreciative of that. What I can't stand, and why his sort of legacy has been so unbelievably tainted and tarnished, in my mind at least. Now everyone else will have different opinions possibly, but he's gone from such good, almost godlike status for what he did for the club, and completely threw it away by, not just leaving, but he had 3 separate pay rises to keep him. He slated the youth, which is what he knew was the sort of process in what we were building at the club anyway, which is proving to be good, in which why we're doing better than Stoke. We wanted to build the youth and build for the future. That's what we've done, and it's seemingly paying off. He slated the youth. He was saying that we didn't back him, which of course there's massive amounts of proof shown and right in front of our eyes right now to show that backing was there for Alex Neil. On a day or a morning of a big game, or the day before a big game we had against Norwich, he was still employed by the club but decided to go and watch Stoke play against Blackburn, I believe it was, that day. The unprofessionalism was gargantuan. It was massive from Alex Neil, and it was very clearly for a payday. And, I won't lie, I do get a tiny glimmer of happiness every time I see a Stoke loss come through on the scoreboard. Do you know what I mean? Purely because of that. And I am very, very spiteful and salty towards him because of it, because I really did like the guy. He seemingly sort of got the air. He knew the club. He understood the fans, the ambitions and what we want. And then it was like a bit of money were flashed in front of him, because I can't think of an excuse. And the way he left, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he addressed the fans or the club and said, right, okay, it's this. He went away in such a shitty way that it's almost unforgivable. So I'm absolutely under the impression that he's a bit of a prick. Do you know what I mean? Amongst other words. So, eternally grateful for what he's done in terms of getting Sunderland out of League One. Of course I am. But that is my opinion on Alex Neil. Unbelievably tarnished his reputation at the club for me. Or at least personally. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments down below with Sunderland fans. Have I hit the nail on the head there? Am I way off? What do you think? Again, let me know in the comments. But in terms of this one game, individually, Stoke, yes, they haven't had a great season. I think their fans would have wanted a lot more than what has been provided on the pitch, given they do have a decent team. They don't have a bad team at all at Stoke whatsoever. They're a good historic club. Stoke, of course, went on go when they were in the Premier League. Before that, they are a historic club. I have respect for Stoke as a club. It's just your manager I've got a bit of an issue with, unfortunately. But yeah, they've got a good team as well. They've got Dwight Gale, who, you could argue he's past it, but he's been there and done that in this league. He's experienced. Of course, he's a former mag. So, again, it's another player I'm not exactly a massive fan of. You've got the experience of, Wilmot and Jacques at the back, Pearson in the middle. They've got pace with Campbell. They've got players there that can hurt us. Absolutely, they've got players there that can help us. Can hurt us. But it depends on what Stoke turn up. Last time they lost against Millwall last time out in the league. Before that they beat Swansea away from home, which is a difficult place to go. They're just unbelievably inconsistent. At the beginning of the season, particularly, they might win 1 or 2 games, but they follow that off with 3 or 4 losses. So it's just the way. It just depends what Stoke's going to turn up at the stage. I'm hoping we can make it a hostile atmosphere, make it difficult for them. We got our foot on the ball and we can control the game. I'm hoping that is the case, because of course we've just gotten 2 defeats on the bounce, which we don't generally get us, this season. We don't generally, if we get a defeat, we'll at least pick up the draw and start winning games again. But it's the first time in a while that I can remember us anyway, getting a couple of defeats on the bounce in the league. So hopefully we can rectify it on Saturday. But I am going to get into my starting 11, or at least my preferred 11 for this game. Tony Mowbray has said that Gucci's not going to be back for a couple of weeks, or at least he's not going to be going to sort of full contact training for another couple of weeks. Sirkin is still very hit and miss because, of course, he did get concussion when he scored that goal not so long ago, when he went up in the air to get that goal. He did come back, but he was brought off because he was saying that he was still feeling a bit shaky, he's not feeling sharp, and, you can only listen to your body, so absolutely I wouldn't want to risk Sirkin. Fantastic player, I love Sirkin, but I wouldn't want to risk him. I feel like after the last game, even... which we'll get into anyway, I'll get into it in a minute. I think Diallo, despite scoring the goal, I think he was poor. A lot of players were poor on that pitch. But I will get into my starting 11. I'll start to explain little changes that I have made. So let's have a look at it. So as you can see, I've gone for Pato in goal. Unless I will start at left back for me. Hume on the right, Ballard and Bart in the middle. You could argue that someone should maybe be dropped in there for at least a bit of a rest. But in the middle, I've gone for Mishu and Luke O'Nien. I just feel like this is going to be a bit of a physical game at the Stadium of Light tomorrow against Stoke. And Daniel, I don't really think he has it in him too much. He's improved drastically, don't get me wrong, in terms of his defensive work. But I still feel like Mishu has that nastiness about him, but also that quality on the ball, whereas I don't think Daniel has that. Mishu does have that in him. He has that bit of a nastiness, a lead of foot, going strong, and we need that in games like this at the stage amount. Luke O'Nien has that in abundance. He has that personality. He can come across a bit of a liability at times, Luke O'Nien. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware of that. But he also likes to press us forward and bring us forward. But now, getting to the final third, we have Clark, Pritchard, Roberts and Gelhardt. Now, I just want to see more of Pritch and Gelhardt together, as well as Luke O'Nien. Luke O'Nien, I said it the other week when he was at right back, he was whipping balls in early. If Luke O'Nien can push over onto the right side a little bit when we are attacking, and he can get his early crosses in, he's a very, very good crosser of the ball as well. So that could be a good supply for Gelhardt, who are really struggling to get involved in games. Pritchard for me, again, when we have the likes of Roberts, we have Diallo and Hume, they like to do their little triangles and try and walk the ball into the box. And it has worked on countless occasions this season. But how many times have we seen it where we do get those little triangles on the go, those pretty passing moves, and it comes to nothing because we refuse to get the ball in the box or even shoot. We end up doing nice little triangles, our position can't get anywhere near us, and then we move backwards because no one dares to put the foot through it. But I feel like it has that bit more of a direct play with O'Nien and with Pritchard on there, who likes to try and play the ball in behind, down the centre, rather than just stick into the corner flags like glue with the triangles. I feel like that could be really, really nice for Pritchard. Try, slip Gelhardt in behind and try and link up with him, and Pritchard can press a little bit in behind as well, with Clark, of course, on one side, Roberts on the other. So that is the lineup I would probably go with. Very hit and miss. I could have easily put Bar alongside Mishu, maybe, just for that little bit of attacking quality to bring us up. But I feel like in a game like this, O'Nien can prove to be a bit of a warrior. There is a little bit of story to this game. Of course, we'll have Alex Neil on that. And he'll probably leave a challenge in early and he'll be sat on a booking for the majority of the game, Luke O'Nien. But I think this is the kind of game that he loves to bits. Luke, he likes to play the panto villain. And I think he has the quality in there as well. A lot of these players have been very, very frustrating, Luke included, over the last couple of games. But this is maybe and probably the lineup I would go for. Let me know in the comments down below, what would you do? I could easily change Clark or Roberts maybe as well, and maybe chuck Burnett in there or the Hadj. But I think that this is probably the team I'll be most comfortable with. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. But now for the dreaded score predictions, and I am going to predict that we are going to get back to winning ways, not in an easy fashion at all, but I am going to go for a 1-0 Sunderland win. I think we will ride our luck throughout the game because, again, they do have threats. Stoke, they absolutely have threats, and we will have to defend. I think there will be plenty of sort of goal mouth scraps in the box, in our area, that kind of thing. We might ride our luck a little bit, and then we might get away. And I think Pritchard will actually score the goal via a free kick. I'm going to go for that. If that's perfect, I might put a bet on that because that seems very specific, doesn't it? But I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for a Sunderland 1-0 win and start creeping back towards the playoffs, hopefully anyway, because I don't want this to be our season starting to phase out a little bit now after such a good season so far. This is where character really needs to be shown. When you're on you've got your back against the wall, a couple of defeats, let's turn this round now because a couple of wins on the bounce now and we're back in the top 6 again. Easily. It's how close and how tight this league is at the minute. Hopefully we can do it. Fuck Alex Neil. You guys take care and stay jammy.